What's going on? It's your boy CJ Goodfella back with the Boxing Clinic, LDBC in the building. One time for the one-time afternoon grind, live from the porch. Look like it's about to storm a little bit where I'm at, but let's get in this nice little breakdown and fight prediction for Robert Easter Jr., the IBF lightweight champion, and Denis Shafikov. Sorry if I butchered his name, but Denis Shafikov is Russian, and basically one of his claims to fame was beating the U.S. Marine, the USA team captain Jamal Herring on PBC. One thing I noticed about that fight was the simple fact that Herring came out trying to box Denis Shafikov, the Russian. And the Russian is trained by Abel Sanchez, and if you know Abel Sanchez, what he's done with Gennady Golovkin most famously, even though his best fighter was Terry Norris, in my opinion, that he worked with, was the simple fact that they're good at cutting the ring off, and he's good at really helping rugged, tough fighters with good punching power and pressure fighters really reel around their game and cut off the ring. That's his thing. Shafikov did it greatly with Jamal Herring. Herring tried to box. He looked good early. But one thing that I don't like about guys that come out moving and boxing early, you have to establish some ground at some point early in the fight. You have to hit the fighter with something meaningful and something good for him not to continue to hawk and prey you down. If you moving, if you boxing and moving on a move, you can't do that for 12 rounds. You have to hit him with something meaningful. You have to hold your ground and hit him with a good power shot. And Jamal Herring never established that respect. Now segueing over to Robert Easter Jr., he's a different type of fighter than Jamal Herring. He can box like Jamal can, but one thing that Robert Easter Jr. is, he's an aggressive lightweight, very aggressive. He's not going to give up too much ground, not at lightweight. He likes to hold his ground, even though he can move, fight inside, outside, mid-range, but he's mostly in a pocket type guy, lightweight, and potentially that could change if he has the chance to move up in different weight classes, and I think he can move up as far as his body frame can take the weight as far as middleweight or junior middleweight to keep it in the realistic realms. He's a guy that he can be a pressure fighter. He can box. He can use angles. He can move. He can fight in the pocket. He can do it all, and he throws good punches. Denis Shafikov is a southpaw, and I believe Robert Easter Jr. is an orthodox. And when Shafikov fought Herring was a lefty as well. So it's like looking in the mirror. But I think to cut to the chase, I think the most important punch for Robert Easter Jr. in this fight is really going to be the uppercut. The right hand uppercut. If you can throw a lead uppercut, that'll work as well. But the way this guy leans over, and he's 5'5", and Robert Easter Jr. is almost 6 foot at 5'11". I think he's going to be able to dress him up with the uppercut without even having to throw it, to keep his mind, wary of it. He doesn't have to warn it. He can just, feint, hit him with the left hook, hit him with the jab, straight right down the middle. If he wants to, use his height. But I think he should be aggressive and hit him early with the jab and the straight right. The 1-2 combination, dress him up with the left hook. And, about third, fourth, fifth round, when this dude's starting to get desperate, because he's going to want to work the body to wear the body work down, because that's what he did versus Jamal Herring. He wants to hit that body to wear Robert Easter Jr. down, because he's a long, lanky lightweight. And being 6 feet tall, he probably having some trouble making his weight. Or you can think about that. But if he wants to bang the body, he wants to bring his head, he always leads with his head. He has a cut right over his motherfucking, his right eye. Scar tissue they mentioned in the Jamal Herring fight. And he just got out of a close war with Richard Kami, who took back-to-back L's to Robert Easter Jr., you guessed it, for a world title fight. And I think with him and Denis Shafikov had to be a world title eliminator, or it could have meant that, because now, Denis Shafikov is challenging for a third world title after, Richard Kami took a close controversial decision versus Robert Easter Jr., which I think he edged him out in a real close controversial decision versus Denis Shafikov, Richard Kami. A lot of people thought he got robbed. Went over to Russia to fight him. For Shafikov, Denis Shafikov, I'm butchering his name probably, but I think for him, it's important, to be wary of that uppercut. Coming from right or left hand from Robert Easter Jr. I think you want to kind of, apply smart pressure. I know Abel Sanchez is going to have him ready. Use a little bit angles, not to cut the ring off like you did with Jamar Herring, which is going to be a little bit difficult to cut the ring off on Easter Jr. because he's not going to do that much moving. He likes to be a stationary target, but if you hit him with a lot of body punches and meaningful punches, and then you see him moving and trying to box and play the matador, and you beat a bull, then you're making an impact on him. So if that happens, you need to be wary of that uppercut because that's the punch that's going to do it. I think Mike Stafford, Barry Hunter, all those guys that work with Robert Easter Jr. and Adrian Broner and all those guys, they took note and look at that fight footage from the Jamar Herring fight, because at some point at that fight, Jamar Herring did start throwing the uppercut. It was just too late. He didn't have any mustard on his punches anymore. So for Denis Shafikov, I think that should be a main objective in this camp. That should have been avoiding the uppercut and beating the body down. That's what it is: beating the body, avoiding the uppercut, using the jab, and cutting the ring off. Not following this kid around the ring, even though he's not gonna give you a lot of movement unless you tend to hurt him. Moving with him, cutting the ring off, stepping over where he's gonna step at. If this dude start moving and Shafikov continues to follow him around the ring, he's gonna get outboxed all day. This is not Jamar Herring. This kid can punch a little bit harder than Jamar Herring. He's a better fluid athlete than Jamar Herring. He's the best well-rounded boxer. Jamar Herring was coming off a 144-day layoff. He got a late start in boxing. Only had 68 rounds to Denis Shafikov 300-something rounds in professional ranks. As far as Bunny Easter Jr., I think he's going to just beat him. Sit in that pocket. He's going to fire off his punches. I think he knows the uppercut is really what's going to be the demise of Denis Shafikov. And Denis Shafikov, in closing words, I think he has the idea as grinding that tall tree down, chopping that tree down, hitting the body, and then coming upstairs once he gets him tired. But ultimately, I think Robert Easter Jr. is going to close the show by knockout. I want to say in the 10th round. It's a championship 12-round fight in front of his home crowd. I think there's going to be a lot of energy. I think he's going to be tested again, like he was tested versus the Richard Comey fight. But every time Denis Shafikov steps up to the world championship level, he loses. So I got Robert Easter Jr. by knockout, uppercut to be exact, over Denis Shafikov. I think he's 0-3 in title fights after this. It wouldn't shock me if he was able to pull off the upset, but I got Robert Easter Jr. 10th round knockout, uppercut.